Up next is their arch rival, the Kansas State Wildcats, who are wildly consistent under Chris Kleiman. They have been a well-oiled machine under him in the past 6 years. They've won at least 8 games in 5 of those 6 years. The only one where they didn't was the COVID-shortened 2020 season. Kansas State is now coming off back-to-back 9-4 seasons, and it's fair to expect basically the same in 2025. In fact, their win total, Dalton, is set at 8.5 because Vegas knows, hey, they're going to win 8 or 9 games. They always do.
That's about right.
Down at Kansas State. Listen, this is a program that's built off their toughness, both in the run game and on their defense, and both of those should remain true in 2025 with a really good run game, even after losing DJ Giddens to the NFL draft. Still have a really good running back we'll talk about a little bit later. Avery Johnson is a really good runner at quarterback, too. And then their defense has some really good players in that front seven, too, that I really like, too. So that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing Kansas State. Now, Avery Johnson's development as a passer will really determine the ceiling of this team, but Dawn, their run game is going to be really good, and their middle of the defense should be really good.
For sure. You've got a rugged defensive line that's not necessarily great at rushing the passer, but they're good at plugging up gaps and helping out in run defense and clearing space for what you have as a top 10 linebacker unit headed by Austin Romaine. We'll talk about a little bit later, but a really good unit there. And then added Arizona safety Gunnar Maldonado behind him. When you look down the middle of this Kansas State defense, they're going to make you win on the outside. They're not going to let you out-physical them. They're going to be really good. Look, the foundation of this team is running the ball on offense and stopping the run on defense. It's a ball control team that wants to hold the ball for 40 minutes, but you have to stop the run as well, and I think that's where they really excel, especially with Romaine in that linebacker unit.
Yeah, Romaine, a top 5 linebacker in the country, in my opinion. We'll talk about him in just a second. And then Gunnar Maldonado, who was battled injuries this past year at Arizona, but the year before, a 77 PFF grade for the Wildcats at safety. Biggest question mark is, will this passing game really improve, though? Because Avery Johnson, great runner at quarterback, but he was only 60th in the country last year with a 72.9 passing grade. They brought back their top receiver in Jace Brown, who's a pretty good player, but Kansas State overall had the 5th worst receiving grade in the Power 4 as a team last year with a 61 receiving grade. But Dalton, tell me more about Avery Johnson. What should we expect in his second year as a starting quarterback?
So he's a darn good athlete, and what Avery Johnson does well, he does really well. Obviously, he's a dynamic runner with blazing speed. Any option play, anything outside the pocket is going to work to his advantage, and he's a dangerous scrambler who can run away from anybody, even defensive linemen coming at him in the pocket. Play action passes, 17 play action passing touchdowns, 4th most in the country. So when you get into play action and you get in the rhythm of what this offense is supposed to be with the run game, with the read option game, with play action, then taking deep shots downfield, those are all his strengths. We did this all last year with Kansas State. When they're ahead, they're in a groove with the run game, they're just fine. When they're behind and they have to drop back and throw the football, that's where the problems come for Avery Johnson. 62.6 passing grade without play action, outside the top 100 in the country last year. That's it. Can he drop back and throw the football? Can he be more accurate from the pocket? Because his throwing motion, it's kind of mechanical. More than a quarter of his throws were uncatchable last season. Can he win in the drop back game from the pocket? If this team in big games, which it's only happens for them a couple of times a year, but in a big game where they're down 7 with 2 minutes to go, can Avery Johnson drop back and throw the football? And that's really the biggest question. That's going to be the difference between that. They're going to be good.
Yeah.
No question. That's the only question that we have of, okay, can I trust Avery Johnson to do that in 2 or 3 big moments throughout the year? And then I can put him in the Big 12 title game. That's it. That's really, it's the same thing we had with Will Howard before he went to Ohio State.
Yeah.
Can they drop back and throw the football? Howard, the year that they won the Big 12, he proved he could do that down the stretch, right? And then they beat TCU and Max Duggan and that great team and all that. But Johnson, it's the same question. I know you can run. I know the play action is going to be really good because you can run. Can we drop back and throw it in big moments? That's what it comes down to.
They can run, for sure. Avery Johnson, great runner at quarterback, and another great running back at Kansas State in Dylan Edwards. So, yes, of course, is replacing an all-time great with the Wildcats, with DJ Giddens now with the Indianapolis Colts. But Dylan Edwards will be the lead back for Kansas State this year. He transferred in from Colorado last year. He was really impressive as Giddens' backup in 2024. He averaged 4.15 yards after contact per attempt. The only Big 12 running back who averaged more and at least 70 carries was DJ Giddens in the Big 12 last year. So Dylan Edwards, he averaged so many yards after contact. He's only 5'9" and only a $167. So he's a smaller running back, but really good balance for the position and game-breaking speed for the position too. He had a couple punt returns last year, one of them for a touchdown that was really showed off his speed. Dylan Edwards, a fan of the show now, Dalton too. He's DM'd me a couple times too. He's a really good kid and a really darn good running back. I think he's having a big breakout year for Kansas State next year. I should mention too, in his true freshman year at Colorado, he was one of the best receiving backs in college football too. So just get the ball in this guy's hands, whether it be as a receiver, as a runner, or as a returner. He can make a lot of home run plays happen.
You know, I like that DJ Giddens was ideally built and big and physical, but let's be honest. Kansas State has this weird tradition of tiny running backs, right?
Deuce Vaughn, yeah.
Deuce Vaughn.
Darren Sproles.
Yeah. Now we've got Dylan Edwards. He's going to fit right in. Well, he did fit right in last year, I should say, and I do like that they used him when they had Giddens. Sometimes they would have both of them on the field, use them in a variety of roles, jet sweeps, throwing the ball to him, right? Run that speed option with him and Dylan Edwards, with Johnson and Dylan Edwards. I mean, that's a lot of speed right there. He really became everything he was supposed to be at Colorado, but in a system that's more obviously ideal for running the football. It's a polar opposite offense from what they run up there at Colorado, and Edwards found a way to succeed in it. I'm with you. He's going to be really good, and I'm not worried about the lack of size at all because this team has a history of making those guys succeed.
Not even that. Tyler Lockett, too.
Undersized. There's something about undersized skill players.
Listen,
man.
Chris Kleiman, I'm just saying right now, I kind of have that build at around 5'9", 170 pounds. So I might give me a call. Yeah, I still have some eligibility left. I think.
You need to get out on the field and get some sprints in before you do that. We got to get you some track.
I probably run like a 6-second 40.
We got to get you some track work before you're doing that.
I don't know if I'd make a contribution to your team right now, but Dawn. Not even the star of the team was Dylan Edwards, even though he's a great player. Austin Romaine is a superstar linebacker.
Man, oh man, you're not kidding. Look at that 90.7 run defense grade, even solid in coverage with a 72.6. But as a true sophomore last year already, one of the best linebackers in the country. And you're talking about, to me, when I watch him first and foremost, his eyes are beyond his years in the run game. Absolute tone setter, 240-pound middle linebacker, one of the best run defenders in the country. Solid in coverage, can blitz a little bit for you too. Honestly, he's everything you want in a middle linebacker. I think that's the best way to put it, especially for a physical team that wants to set that tone, running and stopping the run. You could not do better than to center your defense around Austin Romaine. Their run defense is going to be even better this year because he's got another year of experience and he's only going to keep getting better.
Yeah, as a true sophomore last year, he was the highest graded linebacker in the entire Power 4 with a 91 PFF grade. He's an outstanding run defender, you said too, and then 6'2", 242. That's exactly what you want in a Mike linebacker, and Austin Romaine is that for the Kansas State Wildcats. Dawn, their win total is set at 8.5, like I said before, which is kind of consistent with where they've always been. It feels like this program is. You're going over or under, and then also, is this a top contender to win the Big 12?
I think they are a top contender. I need to see Avery Johnson improve in the drop-back game before I call them the top contender. But this is another team that has a really high floor. And honestly, if they win week 1 against Iowa State in Ireland, it looks like they're going to start 5-0 at least. So I'm going to go over on this. And as far as the Big 12 and the end of it goes, it's just going to come down to moments with Kansas State. It came down to a few moments last year. The big one was the big upset loss to Houston. That really killed their season as far as competing for a Big 12 title. But I'm going to take the over 8.5 there. I think 9-10 wins is very, very attainable for them with their schedule. That first game, again, against Iowa State is massive for them, but they don't have the worst schedule I've ever seen, and they've got a very high floor. I would not expect this team, even in a disaster, to lose more than 4 or 5 games. I think it's very attainable. They won 9 last year, I believe, right? They won 9 games last year. So I think they can do that again. And again, it's more about moments to me than the entire performance with this team. Can you just 2-minute drill times when you're behind, can you drop back and throw the football enough? I know they're going to be an elite running team. I know they're going to have a really good defense. It just comes down to me to that part with the quarterback especially.
I will say their 9th win was the bowl game, which does not count in the win total. So they won. So it would have gone under.
So I need them to be 1 win better.
Yeah,
I need them to beat Houston is what you're getting at. That's what they would have. If they had beaten Houston last year, that's where they would have been. So, I mean, that's where it's at. It's just those moments where I go, all right, I need you to throw the ball. They got one in Colorado. Remember when they won Colorado? He threw the go ball to Jace Brown, but I need it more often. I just need it more often in the drop back game, and then I can consider them. They're a contender. Absolutely. They got a high floor. I'll take the over. I think they're good. I just need to see how good with the passing game. It's one of the biggest questions in the whole conference.
Yep.
Can they do it on a consistent basis?
I'm taking the heart over here. I actually look at the schedule. I would say they're the favorite in 10 of their 12 games.
If they win the Iowa State game starting off, which Iowa State's beaten them the last 2 years.
True.
I think they're starting 5-0. I think that's.
I can see them starting 8-0.
Possible. Very possible.
And that's almost in win total's 8.5. They're 1 win away, and you have Oklahoma State after that too.
But again, we've seen this repeatedly. No matter who they're playing, you get a jump on them. You get a lead.
Yeah, it's true.
You got them. BYU last year, Houston had to come back, but once they got a lead, right? You're talking about the Arizona State game, jumped on them 21-0. You get a lead on Kansas State, they get uncomfortable really quick.
Yeah. And, of course, Avery Johnson's got to take the next step as a passer. But it should be said, too, that he was only a true sophomore last year, right? He was a top 10 quarterback coming out of high school, a lot of talent with that kid. So he could take a big step as a junior, too. If he does take the next step, Kansas State can absolutely win their second Big 12 title in the last 4 years and, of course, clinch a college football playoff spot, too. But it's really kind of all hinges on how much of a development you see from Avery Johnson as a passer there. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.